Damian Cole had never heard the word no spoken to him in his life until that morning. He sat in the sterile air of the British Embassy in Lagos, tapping his gold pen against the desk as the visa officer scanned his documents. His tailored navy suit screamed power, his wristwatch glittered like a promise of wealth, but the woman behind the counter wasn't impressed. "I'm sorry, Mr. Cole," she said, eyes steady. "Your visa application has been denied." He blinked, disbelieving. "Denied? That's impossible. I've been to London dozens of times." "Yes," she replied calmly, sliding the papers toward him. "But this time your background check raised concerns." He frowned. "Concerns?" "There's a report," she said carefully, "about your past treatment of domestic staff. A formal complaint from someone who once worked for you." Her words sliced through the air like a blade. Damian's heart skipped. "That's absurd. Who would—" But before he could finish, the officer added softly, "She's quite a remarkable woman now. You might even see her name in London's business circles." Damian felt his stomach twist. He didn't need to ask her name. He already knew. Adaora. 5 years earlier, Adaora had been nothing but the maid. A quiet girl in faded uniforms, moving through the grand corridors of Cole Manor with a tray and lowered eyes. She'd come from Enugu to Lagos after her father's death, desperate for a job. Damian's mother had taken her in as a house help. Damian barely noticed her at first. When he did, it was only to give commands. "Clean my study. Don't touch that. Stay out of sight when guests arrive." He had inherited his father's empire at 31, real estate, oil, and power. But with his wealth came arrogance. To him, Adaora was invisible, just another face serving in silence. But Adaora noticed everything. She saw the way he clenched his jaw when angry, the loneliness in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. Sometimes, when she brought him coffee late at night, she'd find him staring at the city skyline through the glass walls, lost in thought. And she felt something, curiosity, then pity, then something she didn't have a name for. Until one night, he crossed a line. It had been during a company celebration at the mansion. Music, champagne, laughter spilling into the night. Adaora had accidentally spilled red wine on one of Damian's guests, an influential investor's wife. The woman's voice cut through the hall like a whip. "Who hired this girl? Does she even know how to serve a drink?" The room fell silent. Adaora trembled, eyes on the floor. Damian's voice came next, cold and sharp. "You're an embarrassment. Get out of my sight before you ruin something else." Her heart cracked. The humiliation burned like fire. That night, she packed her small bag and left, walking out through the gates of Cole Manor for the last time. She didn't know where she was going, only that she would never let anyone make her feel small again. Life was cruel at first. Adaora worked at a bakery, then as a receptionist, saving every naira she could. When a foreign NGO offered a scholarship for women in business, she applied with trembling hands. Months later, she was in London, far from the mansion that once confined her dreams. In the years that followed, Adaora transformed. She studied business management, interned at startups, and eventually launched her own company, Adora Organics, a natural skincare brand inspired by Nigerian ingredients. Her products went viral after a British influencer featured them. In 3 years, she became one of the most talked about young entrepreneurs in London. Magazines called her the Nigerian woman redefining beauty. And every time she looked at her reflection in glossy covers, she whispered to herself, "You're not the maid anymore." But beneath her success, she carried a quiet fire. a memory of the man who once treated her like nothing. Damian didn't understand how the tables had turned so quickly. His company had hit turbulence after an international audit uncovered mismanagement. He needed a London-based investor to rescue his brand's reputation. That investor happened to be Adora Organics Group. When his visa was denied, Damian felt the universe itself mocking him. He couldn't attend the business summit where the deal would be finalized. He couldn't even appeal fast enough. But a week later, he received an email from Adaora N subject, business proposal, Adora Organics and Cole Industries. Mr. Cole, I will be in Lagos next month for the West Africa Trade Forum. If you still wish to discuss a partnership, perhaps we can meet. Regards, Adaora Nkemdilim, CEO, Adora Organics Group. He read the email twice, his pulse racing, so she knew, and she wanted to meet. The conference hall buzzed with power and perfume. Damian waited, heart thudding like a drum. When she entered, conversations paused. Adara looked nothing like the girl who once served him tea. She wore a white-fitted suit, her natural curls in a sleek bun, her heels clicking with confidence. Cameras followed her. She was now a star. Their eyes met across the room. For a moment, the years fell away. Miss Nkemdilim, he said when she reached him, his voice lower than he intended. It's been a while. Indeed, Mr. Cole. Her tone was polite, controlled. I hear the embassy didn't approve your trip. He swallowed. They mentioned something about a report. She tilted her head. Maybe they take human rights more seriously now. Damian felt the sting. You reported me. I told the truth, she said simply. What you did humiliated me, but it also changed me, so maybe I should thank you. He looked at her, truly looked, and saw not a servant, but a queen. During the meeting, Adaora laid out her proposal, a joint project combining Cole Industries' logistics network with Adora Organics' growing brand in Africa. The numbers were impressive, but Damian couldn't focus on spreadsheets. His mind kept drifting to the curve of her smile, the quiet strength in her voice. You've done well for yourself, he said finally. She met his gaze. I had to. Some of us don't get second chances easily. He nodded slowly. Maybe some of us don't deserve them. For the first time, her eyes softened. We all make mistakes, Damian. The question is whether we learn. That night, a storm swept through Lagos. Adora stayed at her hotel, reviewing contracts, when a knock came at her door. It was Damian, soaked from the rain, holding an envelope. I had to see you, he said, his voice urgent. There's something I need to tell you. Inside the envelope were copies of old letters, complaints from former staff members. You weren't the only one I treated unfairly, he confessed. I've been trying to make things right. Donations, reparations, but it's never enough. Adara listened in silence. Outside, thunder rolled. I don't expect forgiveness, he continued, but I need you to know I was wrong. About you, about everything. Her throat tightened. Why tell me now? Because, he said, eyes searching hers, you're the only one I ever truly respected. And the only one I can't forget. The air between them grew heavy, charged with something old and new. Adaora stepped closer, her voice trembling. You think respect erases what you did? No, he whispered, but maybe redemption can. For a heartbeat, neither spoke. Rain tapped softly against the glass. Then, as if pulled by an invisible thread, he reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. His touch was warm, hesitant, unlike the cold man she remembered. I used to dream of seeing you again, he said, to apologize, to start over. Her lips parted. "And if I told you I stopped dreaming about you? Then I'd spend the rest of my life trying to change that." The words hung in the air like a confession. She felt her walls cracking, the years of pain, pride, and buried emotion melting into something she couldn't name, but she stepped back. "This isn't a fairy tale, Damian. You can't buy redemption. Or love." He nodded slowly. "Then let me earn it." Weeks passed. The partnership between their companies blossomed, and so did something else, something fragile and real. Late nights turned into shared dinners. Boardroom arguments became laughter over jollof rice and tea. The tension between them simmered, undeniable. But rumours began swirling online. Billionaire seeks ex-maid's forgiveness for visa scandal. Tabloids twisted the story, calling it the Billionaire and the Maid. Adora was furious. "This is why I never wanted this," she snapped one night. "You'll always be the story, Damian. I'll always be the headline girl who used to serve you." He looked at her, pain flashing in his eyes. "Then tell them the truth, that you're the one in control now." She stared at him. "I don't want control. I just want peace." He exhaled. "And I just want you." Their partnership faced collapse after a leaked document revealed Damian's company had once covered up staff mistreatment. Investors pulled out. The media feasted. Adara had a choice: distance herself or stand beside him. She called a press conference. "I won't defend the man he used to be," she told reporters, "but I'll stand with the man he's becoming. Because real power is not in wealth, it's in change." Her words went viral. The same networks that once shamed her now praised her courage. Damian watched from the crowd, eyes glistening. Afterward, he found her backstage. "You saved me," he whispered. "No," she said softly. "I saved myself." "You just learned how to respect that." He smiled. "Maybe that's love." Months later, the British Embassy called Damian back. His record had been reviewed. The reports of mistreatment had been balanced with new testimonies from the people he'd helped rebuild their lives. This time, his visa was approved. But before he boarded the flight, he made one last stop, at Adora's office. She looked up as he entered, surprise flickering in her eyes. "London?" she asked. He nodded. "For business? And maybe for us." She smiled faintly. "I'll think about it." He took her hand gently. "That's all I ask." As he left, Adara watched from the window, her heart full of questions and quiet hope. Maybe forgiveness wasn't weakness. Maybe it was strength. And maybe love, like success, was something you built, brick by brick, choice by choice. The city lights shimmered across the Thames. At a rooftop event for Adora Organics' global launch, reporters buzzed, cameras flashed. Adora stepped onto the stage, grace and fire in her every movement. "Tonight," she said, "we celebrate not just success, but resilience. The power to rise from where we were, told we didn't belong." From the crowd, Damian watched her, pride swelling in his chest. When she descended the stage, he approached her with a quiet smile. "So," he murmured, "the maid became the boss." She chuckled softly. "No, Damian." The woman became free. Then, under the soft London rain, he kissed her. Not as a billionaire seeking redemption, but as a man who had finally learned what love truly meant. Thank you for staying with me. Kindly like, share and comment on my channel. BI.